Hey everyone, so in today's video I kind of just wanted to talk about my sophomore year of college and kind of give you guys a little bit of a recap. But before I do that, I just wanted to give a quick announcement, and the announcement is that I have a podcast. My friend Christian and I have started a podcast called The Buffering Podcast, where each week we're going to bring on creators big and small to talk about their experiences on creating content. All live episodes will be streamed on both of our channels Friday 6:30 Eastern Time, so every Friday there will be a new episode streamed on both of our channels. But don't worry, if you happen to miss a live episode, all past episodes and clips from each episode will be uploaded individually on the Buffering Podcast YouTube channel. Okay, self-promotion over. On with the video. So since my sophomore year is officially over, I decided I would tell you about my sophomore year of college. So it's no secret that my freshman year of college wasn't really that great. I spent a lot of weekends not really doing anything. I didn't really get invited to much. And honestly, I think overall I just didn't do a good job of putting myself out there. Sure, I got ignored by some people I tried to be friends with, but at the end of the day, I think it really came down to having some bad luck and also just not being as outgoing as I would have liked to. So this year I had the idea that I was going to try to just put myself out there and just see what happened. And I'll be honest with you, having this YouTube channel really helped me meet new people. Normally this YouTube channel is pretty much the bane of my existence. Like, that's all it was in high school. Like, a lot of people would just make fun of me for it. But in college, I guess people are more mature and they're actually more supportive of stuff like this, I guess. I've mentioned this before, but probably in like my first couple weeks of college, I met like 15 people who were subscribed to my channel. Not that I was counting or anything. Okay, yeah, I was actually counting. But this was cool. I had like 15 individual people come up to me and say that they had watched my videos. To know that there are people out there who support what I do and like what I do, that just makes me want to do it even more. And throughout the school year, I had a lot of positive experiences with people who watched my videos. Freshman year, people only maybe came up to me like once or twice because it was kind of underground. People didn't really know that much about it. But this year, a lot of people knew about it. I remember I ate dinner with someone who was subscribed to my channel. I had coffee with a student who was subscribed to my channel. I ate dinner with a group of freshmen. I had Taco Bell with another group of freshmen. And these were all people who reached out to me because they were fans of my work. And I say work because I wouldn't really call it work. It's mainly just me complaining to a camera for 10 minutes. And this was great because I'm human just like the rest of you. I value human interaction just as much as the next guy. So having familiar faces around campus and people who were familiar with my videos was really cool. I guess one thing that was a little disappointing is that I wasn't able to make as many friendships as I would have liked to through the YouTube channel. It would happen a lot where people would just come up to me, say that they like my videos, give me this big massive ego boost, and then I'd never see them again. I wish I would have done a better job trying to keep in contact with these people and getting to know these people rather than it just be like a one-time thing. And maybe people are just too scared to get to know me or ask to hang out, but I promise you I'm not really that scary of a person. I think deep down I'm an okay person for the most part. But that being said, I was able to make a few meaningful friendships from my YouTube channel. You people have met Sammy. She was in that video where like my school kicked me out of my dorm. Yeah, her. And she started out as an obsessed fangirl. Okay, I'm kidding. She was actually relatively calm and really cool. But she came up to me in one of my classes and was like, I watch your videos, and we got to know each other through that. And now at this point, I think I'd consider us friends. I mean, I got invited to her place and I got to watch a movie. That like never happens to me, so that was pretty cool. And I was also able to make friends outside of the channel as well. As I mentioned before, I was trying to be more outgoing, so I've told you guys this, but I do this thing called the Rambler Sports Locker. It's basically like this weekly sports broadcast show. And basically within the first few weeks of that, I tried to introduce myself to as many new people as possible within that group. And some of those friendships didn't really work out, and others I was actually able to meet some like really cool people, and I consider them friends. Also this year I was able to make friends with the people who lived on my floor. So yeah, I guess in conclusion, when it comes to friendships, I met a lot of cool people, and hopefully when this whole corona thing is over, I can meet some more new cool people. So let's kind of switch gears and talk about my favorite thing about school, the academics. And that was sarcasm, by the way. I don't really like academics that much. I thought this year, from an academic standpoint, things were fine. I got mainly A's and B's. I noticed I was probably staying up a lot later than I normally would. So I think I definitely had more work than I did my freshman year, and I guess the classes are just getting harder, I don't know. Or it also could be that, like, my time management wasn't that great, which is ironic because I made a whole video about how to not procrastinate, and, you know, this year I kind of procrastinated a lot. But yeah, I did fine. I got A's and B's. You hear that, Mom? I didn't get any C's. So please let me continue living in your basement. I would really appreciate that. But this year I was able to take a lot more classes that were actually related to my major. I think last year a lot of the classes I was taking were mainly just like required classes that everyone has to take, like math, English, stuff like that. But this year I was able to take a lot more of communications classes, which was pretty nice. For one of my classes, I was able to interview a television meteorologist. For another class, I was able to work on this article where I was able to interview freshmen about like the whole moving in process. And then I also worked on a radio piece that I was really proud of. And a lot of the assignments I worked on this year really allowed me to get out of my comfort zone. I remember I decided to do one story about climate change and the lake levels in Lake Michigan. You know, nerdy stuff. And I had to go through at least 5 people before I could actually get an interview with someone. I had another experience where one of my professors told me to go interview the men's basketball coach. So I reached out to the athletic director and I was like, can I interview the men's basketball coach? And he was like, no, you can't. And it's discouraging when you're constantly turned down and told the word no, especially when you're like a really anxious person like me. But I think this year I really learned how to take the word no as an answer. You know, in the past when someone told me no, I just kind of like shrivel up in a ball and get really upset. Now I just kind of shrug it off and move on, because if you're gonna cry about every time someone says no to you, you're gonna have a pretty miserable life. The ability to understand the word no, not only in school, but just in general, is probably one of the most valuable lessons that I think I learned this year. Except I will say, I still don't know how to overcome the fear of rejection when it comes to girls, so the moment any of you figure that out, please let me know, because I still don't know how to handle that. But everything turned out okay. All the assignments that I may have been worried about or stressing over, they all ended up fine, because at the end of the day, I was able to find people who were actually willing to help me. It's like that one Weezer album, Everything Will Be Alright in the End, which by the way is a great album and I highly recommend that you listen to that. As for extracurriculars, I didn't do as many as I would have liked to. I know I said at the beginning of the year that I wanted to add an extracurricular or two, but I think honestly trying to juggle my YouTube channel and also schoolwork was just a lot harder than I thought it would be. I still did do the Rambler Sports Locker this year, and maybe next year I'm going to try to add another extracurricular. But I was able to take on more of a leadership role within the Rambler Sports Locker, which was nice. And that's definitely something that pushed me out of my comfort zone, because usually I'm told what to do with certain things, and now it was kind of getting to the point where I would like help people with things. So that was pretty cool. I also did something that if you told me I was going to do this, I would tell you that you're crazy, and that is working out. Now, looking at me, you can tell that I'm not really someone who works out, and I wasn't up until the beginning of this year. This year I decided I would at least just try to work out, so I went to the gym, I would run, I would do the bikes. I didn't do any of the lifting stuff because I'm too weak for that, if you couldn't tell. The idea wasn't just to lose weight, because I think the weight I'm at is probably fine. The idea was to just move and be active, because sometimes I would have a really stressful day, and then I would try to go to sleep, but it would just be impossible. But then I would have a stressful day, go to the gym, be so exhausted, and then sleep fine, and then my brain wouldn't constantly worry about things that I couldn't control. So to anyone who's maybe dealing with stress or anxiety, I highly recommend working out. And I think it got to the point where I was working myself too hard, because then I started running way too much and longer distances than my body was probably prepared for, and then I kind of messed up my knees, so I had to take a break from running for a few weeks. And it sucks because once I was able to get in that routine of working out, then the coronavirus thing happened and kind of ruined everything. But I think my freshman year, I probably went to the gym like once, and that was just to play a game of basketball. This year, I went to the gym a lot more, like at least 3 or 4 times a week. Now we're gonna kind of go to the last part of the video, and that's the coronavirus. I made a whole video about this, so I'm not gonna go into too much detail, but I'm gonna just talk about it kind of briefly. So once I was able to really get into the groove of things, the coronavirus happened. My entire freshman year, I was never really comfortable at college. I never really felt at home. Midway through my sophomore year, I was really able to feel more comfortable. I was surrounded by people I knew and that I liked and enjoyed to be around. I was actually starting to consider my college a home. And then the coronavirus happened and pretty much ruined everything. And honestly, at the end of the day, I can't complain. I'm healthy and safe as far as I'm aware. I feel like me complaining about being sent home would be kind of a first world problem, so I'm not really going to do that. I think I'll be okay. But yeah, overall, my sophomore year was pretty good. The coronavirus wasn't ideal, but you know, things happen and you just kind of have to live with it. So yeah, that was my sophomore year for the most part, I guess. Since now that it's officially the summer for me, I'll have a lot more time to make videos and work on my podcast and other projects. So I highly encourage that you subscribe to this channel because I will actually be consistent on here again. And that's a promise. Okay, it's not really a promise, but like, I'm pretty sure I'll be consistent on here. So if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on today's video, leave a comment telling me what you thought, and also subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and also subscribe to my podcast channel. We have some exciting guests coming up, and I'm really excited for you to see that. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next time.
We showing love. Eric Morin fans the golden child, we going up. How many subscribers, but enough, never enough. We can show you how to stunt, climb the ladder so my vision to the heaven up above. Let me show you how to stack when, I'm talking way back when. Flip the script and take the hate with a grain of sand.